One of the ships that ran aground, because the Barnegat pirates were known throughout the world, anyone who sailed along the U.S. eastern seaboard, there were very few people who lived along the coastal communities, and they were very poor people. They had to live solely off the land, go clamming, crabbing, fishing, whatever they were able to harvest on their own. That was it. Men in these families would volunteer their time to help out during shipwrecks. But some of the wrecks, when they occurred, of course, meant a whole different lifestyle of the residents for a while. One ship that wrecked here on Long Beach Island, the Francis, had a cargo of wine, barrels of wine and bottles and all that. So the local residents were competing with each other to scoop up and hide as much of the cargo as possible. And one guy would bury a cask of wine in the sand. Another guy would see him and unbury it and move it somewhere else. The reason they got the term moon cussers is because they didn't ply their trade during a full moon. They were fearful of being detected by people who were not thrilled with their activities. So they didn't want to be caught in the act of luring ships ashore. So they would curse a full moon. So they called them moon cussers. But they were better known as the Barnegat pirates.
New Jersey has been called the crossroads of the American Revolution. During our battle for independence, hundreds of colorful and heroic scenes played out along our ocean front. In June 1776, the largest naval force ever assembled began to arrive in New York Harbor. The masts and sails of so many ships formed such an imposing presence when viewed from our shores. One observer noted, "It looked as though all of London was afloat." In contrast to the enormous British fleet, the American colonists had barely any navy whatsoever. Privateers were commissioned by the colony to attack British ships and capture precious cargo so badly needed by our fighting armies. These exceptional sailors found that the channels and inlets along the Jersey coast provided excellent refuge from the enemy while being treacherous waters for the British. History gives little recognition to the brilliant achievements made by our brave patriots. Against all odds, men in armed whaleboats carried out night raids on enemy vessels with outstanding precision. Recounting one daring example, in early January 1779, several whaleboats set out from Matawan Creek under the command of Captain William Mariner, a tavern keeper from New Brunswick. Their mission was a night raid on a number of enemy boats that had taken shelter from bad weather in a cove at Sandy Hook. The men were able to capture 3 sloops, taking 6 prisoners, along with a British armed vessel and its crew of 12. Due to high winds and high tide, 3 of the ships grounded on sandbars and had to be burned, but not before ransacking them for their valuable cargo. Attacks by the British resulted in some bloody losses for the American colonists, however. In October 1778, supplies were being brought into the harbor near the Mullica River at Chestnut Neck, then conveyed by wagon train up to the Continental Army at Valley Forge. The British invaded, forcing the American militia to retreat. Villages were burned, and over the following days, they burned farms and vessels at the mouth of the Wading River. A week later, Brigadier General Casimir Pulaski and his reinforcements reached the Little Egg Harbor district and set up camp on a farm. A British force rode in the dark to what is now Osborne Island. They then marched to the site of the infantry post, charged into 3 houses, and bayoneted 50 American troops. American patriotism would prevail, however, and within a short time, Little Egg Harbor would resume its privateering activities. Many nights along our shore were lit by flames of burning ships, and the sounds of cannon fire echoed over the ocean. On March 24th, 1782, the British attacked and burned the salt works at Toms River, along with most of the town. In the assault, 9 patriots were killed and 14 captured. Captain Joshua Huddy was taken prisoner and later hanged by the British at the Highlands in Monmouth County. On December 23, 1783, the immense British fleet sailed out of Sandy Hook Bay, homeward bound for England. Panorama never seen before, as it spread itself over the open sea. Standing on the highlands, our patriots could watch as the massive sails slowly sank over the horizon.